Reloading for deployment. Take this time to warm up. Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy dropping into the AO. Warm-up is over. Stand by for deployment to the war zone. Resurgence. Survive and your team can redeploy. Eliminate targets to bring them back faster. Set a drop point for your squad, soldier. Locations are marked for attack.
Hostile captain overhead. Hostile captain detected.
Run! Here comes his partner, run!
You're back on station. Get out. Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the side. Your squad mates is redeployed. Well done.
I hate this water shit. Get the fuck out the water. Hold on, there's two over there. I'm coming. Bro, why would you go out on by yourself? Oh my fucking god, man. weak ass teammate, bro. I hate when I get a teammate that don't talk. Let me make sure my mic is on or some shit.
A deserter left your squad. We'll redeploy you faster to make up for it.
Joy really insists and even begs him to work, and even offers to grant him any favor if he'll do this one thing for him. Our protagonist then says that he'll agree to do it if they forgive all of Iris' absences and stop forcing her to participate in training. Principal agrees, and Miri is really happy about hearing this and admires him even more. The main teacher is confused and questions the decision of the principal, but Mr. Cho is really determined to see this through and tells him that this is a perfect opportunity. Not telling him what he means by that. Now in the testing facility, we see Principal Joy talking with a lady researcher about our protagonist. She's really unimpressed by his appearance and his previous test scores and thinks it's excessive to use their testing machine for hunters on an ordinary person. Mr. Choi says that it's very important for them to do this test, not explaining any details, but thinking about his previous experience with our protagonist, where he got swallowed by that monstrous man-eating plant. Seeing the principal looking all tensed up, she gets curious as to what he sees in him to make him so determined to test ill-shade like this. Meanwhile, we see our protagonist closed in a testing tube with a mysterious orb in their middle. His ability tells him that the orb is used for testing the abilities and strengths of a human and is often used to differentiate between
Check your leader and weapons. We go.
Almost as if it's draining all of his powers from him. This orb definitely has a strange effect on him. But just after a bit of time, the researcher lady lets him know that the test is over and our protagonist takes his hand off of the orb, feeling extremely exhausted. The results come out immediately and the researcher lady, going through the results, says that what she's seen is impressive. This piques Principal Joy's attention and it makes Il-Shield think of all kinds of things. Oh, how now he'll be recognized as one of the greats as he knows himself to be. He excitedly asks them if
some things have been updated or changed since we last covered this. So, dropping into our actual settings menu here, of course, your input device is going to be controller on a controller settings video, believe it or not. Keyboard and mouse, there are some very dropping into our possible to do well. And with ranks now dropping and everything, I wanted to sort of revisit the best controller settings here because some things have been updated or changed since we last covered this. So, dropping into our actual settings menu here, of course, your input device.
tells him that the results produced by the machine have a margin of error of just 0.1%, which means that the machine is not mistaken. We now learn that the researcher lady is Principal Joy is doing it. My pronunciation is flawless here, boys, I think. E-U-N-Z.
Is going to be controller on a controller settings video, believe it or not. Keyboard and mouse, there are some very skilled keyboard and mouse players out there, but ultimately, as we know, controller is so dominant in COD, especially with how aim assist functions this year in particular. It's very busted and can be abused in a lot of ways, so controller is going to be that dominant input, especially for those top tier ranks, and if you're playing at a competitive level, either in the actual ranked play playlist, or you're just trying to dominate in pubs as well. So, initially here, button layout, personally, I play on tactical. I have for years and years because I've always used scuff controllers and whatnot, so this is always going to help out a ton, especially if you're trying to maneuver quicker, because you can just use your right thumbstick to dive or to slide. Well, neither of those options are as aggressive as they've been in the past. Using those to maneuver and make it tougher to, have enemies land shots on you is going to be a big deal. So tactical, making it a bit easier to maneuver that way is solid. I don't flip anything, so I just play with the standard stuff. I also, though, have digital tap triggers and bumpers on my controllers, so it's like clicking a mouse there. That said, you could always just customize your controller to your liking and change the exact input if you wanted to, which is a much needed feature that we've wanted to see in COD for some time, and it's finally here now, so you can certainly utilize this if you wanted to and make things really convenient for your own level of comfortability with your controller. Then getting into more of the general things there, I don't use the bumper ping, but that's more of a preference thing. I don't layout either. Vibration, I would always recommend turning off. Some people just take the rumble packs out of their controllers. I know a lot of these sites like, Scuff and Battle Beaver and whatnot allow you to actually just take those out entirely. I'd recommend doing that and just having the lighter controller. But if you do have the rumble packs in, turning off that vibration so that you don't have anything potentially shaking your hands when you're trying to aim and be super precise is going to be the way to go. So I would not recommend having that on. Also, trigger effects, if you have an applicable controller, I'd turn those off as well. It's not going to help with a competitive gameplay experience. Obviously, sensitivity is a huge thing, and this somewhat is preference-based, but there are some stats here that, say this is better than that, right? I would never recommend being too low, around like 3 or 4, or too high, which is really above like 14 or 15 or so. I play on a 9/8, and I do like to stagger my horizontal and my vertical. Vertical, you don't need as much because it's going to be easier to control vertical, whereas horizontal, you're always going to be looking around left and right trying to snap. I like being a bit faster there, but somewhere in the middle ground, you're going to find most pro players playing anywhere from like a 5 to a 10, I'd say is about the max point there. It just is your level of comfortability once more. If you're on the higher end or maybe on the lower end there, you can certainly mess around and figure out what works the best for you. Sensitivity multipliers and vertical aim access, I don't mess with any of that. That's not going to make a huge difference again on competitive play. If you really are in vehicles a ton and you want a faster sense or a lower sense, you can certainly adjust that, but that's not going to be like a make or break setting. ADS behavior, obviously we're going to have on hold, then change the input. I like to just have as my left thumbstick, but that's more preference based there. Automatic sprint, I'm still running ATS. I know some players prefer just...
This is the top B ranker, and he also has a lot of experience in real life fights. That experience gives him an edge over even an A-class ranker. So he should not be underestimated. Hearing all this,
have straight up automatic sprint that way. If you're trying to move very precisely in certain areas, you're not getting that full on tack sprint and hurting your sprint-to-fires there a little bit extra. That more is a thing of how often do you play in those situations. For me, ATS is going to save my thumbstick for one, but also just make my gameplay transitions a bit smoother, and I've learned to live with that, even with the slower sprint-to-fire of tack sprinting. Equipment behavior is always going to be on hold. My mount activation here is preference. I like the standard ADS and melee, but you might like something else. Prioritize interact, of course, is going to be clutch for Warzone. It's going to make looting things way easier. That said, you're still going to be picking up things accidentally because of how the loot disperses in this game, right? But still, being able to one tap to open a door, to open a chest, to pick something up rather than holding is going to make everything way more seamless. You always want to be running that. Then armor plate, apply all. This is going to make it easier. You just have to press that armor up button once, and then you can always cancel it if you want to by sprinting out of it or YYing out of it. It's way easier than having to consistently press armor. Okay, one plate in, armor again, one plate in, just a little bit more seamless yet again. Anytime you can increase how seamless something is in game, it's going to make things more fluid and more smooth. That's the ultimate end goal. The smoothest your gameplay can be is going to be, in most cases, the best gameplay experience. Now, as we jump into the advanced settings here, quick reminder, if you guys are new here, every single day I'm your one-stop post notifications and things here. This is where things might get a bit controversial because it's a lot of aim assist focus, right? Obviously, you want target aim assist on. Aim assist types really go between Black Ops and default. Most players are going to be on one of those two. There's not really going to be a huge difference in the two, but I've played on Black Ops since day one, and this is what I've become familiar with and accustomed to, so no need to change that. If you've been on default this whole time, I probably wouldn't recommend changing that. You could try it out, like against bots and see how things play, but there's not going to be a huge difference. It's very minor in terms of what is being affected here. Precision and focusing feel very unnatural, though, so I wouldn't recommend either of those. ADS aim assist, this doesn't actually matter for multiplayer. It's single player only, as it says. And the third person ADS correction type is pretty standard there. You just want to have that on assist. Now, aim response curve type dynamic is what you're going to see the majority of pro once you're moving your thumbstick on your actual controller. So either of those are good. Yes, I'm going to have all my custom tuning here. And this is an important one because the transition timing, though, I keep on instant. That way, the second I go to ADS, I'm going to have all my custom tuning here. And this is an important one because I do play on 9/8 sensitivity, which is a little bit on that higher end. When I ADS, I don't want to have 9/8. In some cases, it's going to be a little bit too fast. So instead, for low zoom optics, like your blue dots and red dots and whatnot, I like to have it a little bit lower. And then as the zooms increase, I go a little bit higher because obviously over long range, if you're trying to track a super small target, you don't want to be moving too slow to not be able to keep up with them here. So this is going to help out with accuracy. these different zooms. Like I said, I just go up a little bit in the increments as we get further and further out. So
definitely nothing about Ilshin indicating that he could be any higher than just the G rank. This is a shocking discovery for Roland. And as the Academy's medical staff was taking the still unconscious PE teacher out in a stretcher, Ilshin was just concerned if he was okay, as he didn't look right at all. Then the principal joined out of the cage and tells Ilshin that he should fight him next. He takes his shirt off
2 to 3 times, 4 to 5, 6 to 7, 8 to 9. Zoom, I'm just slightly going up with each one of those. I get asked about this all the time. Dead zone, what is the best dead zone? There is no best dead zone. This is entirely specific to your controller and how much stick drift you have. My stick drift will always be different than your stick drift, so I've adjusted this to what I need. That said, what you do want to turn off here is basically the trigger dead zones for left and right trigger. Turn that all the way down to 0, so that way you're going to be shooting as fast as you...
About this makes it look slightly sinister, and the principal is annoyed by this, but knows that he cannot underestimate him, as even if the power he just showed against the PE teacher isn't all that impressive, he knows that he's capable of much more as he witnessed it himself.
The second that you're, pulling down and getting that activation point, it'll go. You don't have to worry about any, barrier there with that. So certainly have that on there. Controller orientation, you probably want to have on up unless you don't want to have it on up, but I think most players will probably go standard there. Now, gyro aiming is something very niche that very few players are going to be able to actually use in a competitive scenario. It's certainly something you can mess around with, but it's not a realistic competitive option. It's much more of a niche gameplay style. It's cool for what it's worth, though, for sure, but nothing there is really relevant to what we got going on in this video in specific. Movement behaviors here, automatic move. You don't want to have that on. Sprint behavior, double tap.
At this point, Principal Joy is really annoyed at Ilshin's confidence, thinking that he will beat him without doubt. Just the way he talks about this deal they just made, it's as if he already knows it's a done.
You don't have automatic tack sprint on, that'll obviously be important for that. Grounded mantle, I cannot stand randomly mantling things if I'm not trying to, if I want to jump shot in that location, so I turn this off and it is a game changer. That said, you're still going to mantle and ledge hang on things you don't want to. That's just the default mechanics of the game not being optimal, right? I go for that partial airborne mantle and then automatic ground mantle I have off. That'll just make things the smoothest based on what I've played so far. And, over time, that's what I've become accustomed to. Now, invert slide and dive behavior, if you're someone who wants to dive consistently, you want to have this on inverted because that's just a tap to dive. I find dolphin diving to be a little bit more aggressive in most cases than sliding. It makes you a little bit harder to hit in some cases as well, so I much prefer to simply quick dive than quick slide, if that makes any sense. Plunging underwater, I keep on standard movement. Parachute auto deploy, you obviously want to have off so you can get super low to the ground and then pull your chute and basically get down faster than your opponents would. Sprinting door bash, you want to have that on just so you can get through those doors quicker. Mantle only on the ledge hang here because the movement base is really finicky and not consistent based off what I have played with that. ADS stick swap I have off, backpack alternate control, that's more of a preference thing and mainly for DMZ. Weapon mount exit movement on short, I don't actually think there's much of a difference there, quite frankly. I don't like my weapons to switch when I run out of ammo, but if you do like that automatically to switch, you could turn this on, that's more preference based. Quick C4 detonation, again, not really a huge deal here. Also kind of strange that that's even in the controller settings, honestly. Then vehicle behavior, short delay on this, and free look are going to be your standard ones there. Then the mini-map stuff and whatnot, this is not really all that relevant to competitive gameplay at all. A lot of this stuff is just it's based on how you want certain things to feel, but the competitive stuff being more towards the top here. But that being said, those are the main pros. It's going to wrap things.
Strike feels so much stronger than the PE teacher's punch, but to everyone's surprise, he defends it with the block that he put up at the last moment. The only person not surprised is Principal Joy, and our protagonist is annoyed at being attacked without even making it clear that they started the match. It's so sneaky, he thinks, but Joy is now burning with excitement as he felt no one would really test him like this in some time, and he's also extremely excited just to see if our protagonist has the magic miracle to his talking about.
Use this time to practice. We will be deploying soon. Practice is over. The real fight begins now. Resurgence. Stay alive to keep your squad in the fight. All right, soldier. Mark a drop point for your squad.
Marked an LZ. Let's wreck this shit.
Enemy dropping into the AO.
I need mid-cal rounds.
Time for vengeance. You're redeploying.
Hostile UAV in this sector. I need mid-cal rounds. Hostile UAV overhead. Hostile UAV active.
We are returning you to the front. Earn this. drop inbound. Enemy dropping into the AO. Operators from that squad. Hunt them down. Fog is entering the area. Visibility will be low. Enemy soldier incoming. Get ready. You're redeploying. Occupation scan. The enemy surveilling the AO. Stay low or use the water for concealment. Enemies detected. Locations marked.
Hostile UAV in this sector.
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies. They got gas moving in. Be advised, enemies deployed a buy station.
Hostile UAV overhead. Hostile UAV active. Hostile UAV in this sector. Hostile UAV overhead. Hostile UAV active.
Enemy soldier incoming. Down the rest of them. Fire sale active. Buy station prices have been reduced.
Hostile UAV in this sector.
Resurgence is about to end. Make it count.
Hostile UAV active.
Fire sales over. Adjusting prices. Gas is inbound. Enemy dropping into the AO. Resurgence has been deactivated. This is the end game.
Hostile UAV overhead. Hostile UAV in this sector.
Less than 25 were still standing. The enemy took that one, but we will be back to finish the job. Gas is moving in. Moving here!
Requested recon flyover!
Yo, Weezy Weez.
Yo.
Yo.
As their protector keeps repeating it, so it has to have some special meaning. And it gets really excited thinking that it's over. Then they decide to send this greeting back to our protector.
You said what?
With D instead of B. And they're all really enthusiastic about it. So they keep repeating it more and more and sending messages to ill shit.
I power forward. I don't got no shooting go, bro. I'll join.